we got going on over here? Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing this evening? Figured I'd come out here and put this day to bed. It is 8:33 in Atlanta at the moment. We've had some storms that's come across the city. I've seen where a Facebook friend of mine, Ray, had said a neighbor's pine tree fell on his house at 2:30 in the morning last night, right out of Atlanta out here. Conyers, Stone Mountain, somewhere on that side. But anyway, top of the evening, you want to come by and sit a minute, join us. I tell people I watch a lot of different lives, but now you catch 3 or 4 minutes here, 2 or 3 minutes there. But when it is beautiful out here in this little garden house, Lex. I got a little fan blowing on me too. Got a little music playing on the laptop over here that's on Instagram and Facebook, but if the music's too loud, I'll turn it down. I like the Himalayan kind of flute sounds just to relax. For the first time this morning when I wrote my morning post, I listened to that soft, kind of peaceful meditation music as I was writing. Thank you for the hearts. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I hope you're doing okay today. Hope you're doing okay this evening. Life's kind of stressful, ain't it? Sometimes life's just full of shit. And then sometimes life is the most wonderful thing that's swirling around you. So I had a day today where I really didn't do much of nothing. I just stayed around the house. Y'all, want to tell y'all something. Well, a couple of things. Ava come in a little bit ago. I'm not telling her business, but I stopped earlier when I had to go over to Cabbagetown for a minute, and it's storming real bad, and I posted a picture where I had to get out of the storm and stopped at a Zesto's, had me a hot dog basket and a Coca-Cola. I come in and Ava said, it wasn't storming over there when you posted that picture. Did you try to play it off like you wasn't getting out of no storm? You knew exactly where you was going and what you was doing. And then I showed him a picture of it when I was coming out, and the sky's all blue and all. So anyhow, not to tell her business, but there's a Taco Bell right up here, half a mile from us here in East Point. She said, well, I'm going to run up Taco Bell. You know, she's been eating healthy. So I'm going to run up here to Taco Bell and get me a couple of tacos. So, but anyhow, I was talking to her earlier, and everybody just take a deep breath. Man, I can smell the dampness in the air. The bird just flew into a window. They do that out here. They think they can fly through. You heard that song? The birds, it's still daylight enough. The birds are still chirping. We welcome the presence. Whatever the higher source and presence is, we welcome that right now. But we're going to wait on it. Watch it catch us. Watch all of a sudden something good start happening. But I told Ava earlier, I said, this is going to show you how ingrained being online, being on TikTok. I waited the storm out and made it home in 30 minutes. Enjoy your evening. Thank you there. Glad you made it home there, Velo. Yeah, traffic is crazy when it's storming like it. Man, it looked eerie. The word is ominous. I was driving into Atlanta. I seen downtown like under a dark cloud, just ominous. But anyhow, I told Ava earlier this afternoon, I told Ava, I said, I unalived one of the chickens. And she's like, you unalived it? It sounds like you're talking on TikTok. I'm like, I know I've kind of got where I like saying that better than I killed a chicken. I unalived a chicken. Chicken struggling, having some issues, been sickly. I just went ahead and yeah, it was. You know what? To me, I love storms. I went over to Cabbagetown, my daughter Jill's house for a minute. I had to run by there for a minute and to do something. And man, hey, it was storming. It didn't really rain that much. And Kathy and Jill, Jill's mama, they were out at the animal shelter because Jill is doing rescue on kittens this summer. Her and Savannah are. They're kitty rescues, bottle feeding them, getting them up, working with Fulton County. And so they had went out to the Fulton County animal thing to get medicines and stuff like that. And Kathy went out there with her and was sitting in the car. And Kathy's just terrified. That bad storm come up out there. And she's sitting outside, and she said the hail was so big. She said, "My God, people's going to be calling their insurance companies tomorrow. This hail is tearing cars up." Neighbor's dog across the street yapping, barking. People walking down the street right here. So, but anyway, stormy. It's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. The weekend's ahead of us. I work on Ivan Allen, and it was bad our way too. Yeah. Man, that's an old name, Ivan Allen. Ivan Allen. Can I tell y'all how old I feel sometimes? And when Velo, when she says I work on Ivan Allen Boulevard downtown. I remember when Ivan Allen was all over Atlanta with there was an office supply place, Ivan Allen office supply. I think he was mayor, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. But I stopped by Ace Hardware over in Grant Park today. And picked up a couple of little screws I needed, and it was $4.51. I pulled out a $5 bill, and the young man said, "We don't take cash here." I'm like, "Okay, I just I give them American Express." And I said, "I just typically don't try to put $2 and $3 stuff on Southern Company." Good, yeah. I'm y'all over here on Facebook. I'm just reading stuff that's coming up. Hey, Shannon. I just had a small thunder shower pass through here in central North Carolina. Cool, doesn't it? It cools things off, thankfully. It does, doesn't it? That rain here about an hour ago, man, I can feel the coolness in the evening air. Feels good, don't it? But anyhow, I stopped by Ace Hardware, and they don't take cash. And this is Sherry from Facebook. Yeah. I'm putting two and two together, Sherry. But Habitat don't take cash. I went through a Zaxby's over on Ponce de Leon a couple months ago to get something. They're like, "Sir, we don't take. We don't take cash." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll pay with a credit card." I'm sitting on my screen porch, and it feels, doesn't it? The smell of after rain as the earth kind of absorbs it. It's something that, yeah, some places give you a discount if you pay cash because, when they take a credit card, on average, you as a business, I know you pay 2.5% to 3% of that thing in credit card fees, and you can't hardly buy nothing that'll drive through now for under $25, $30. So if you do a $30 order, that business loses $3 of that for credit card fees, and yeah. So, but more, the offset of that from people I talk to who no longer take cash is you don't have to worry about employees putting cash in their pocket. You don't have to have, it's hard to manage that. I had employees steal from me, people come in there, they just delete out an invoice and put the $200 in their pocket. It's hard to, more and more businesses getting around that. So, yeah. And then I was thinking about this. I'm 69 years old. I still consider myself fairly young. Uh, I remember when there wasn't credit cards. I remember when you had to take your checkbook around, put it in your pocket, take your checkbook, go to Kmart, buy a little something, write them a check, give me a driver's license. Yeah, I bet you do miss the cash register, Heather. You was one of them employees I was talking about. Heather worked for A1 Blueprint for 10 or 12 years. Her nickname was Old Sticky Fingers Heather. I'd ask them, like, why you on the cash register? Ain't no cash, ain't no customers in here. She always clicking that cash register open. Good evening, Miss Kathy, over on Facebook. Yeah. Shannon says, I remember having to make carbon copies of credit cards. Yeah, you did. We had the thing years ago when you had that machine where it was like 3 copies. You put the credit card in it and you swipe it across, and then it puts all the numbers on. You get this one signed. This one was for the customer. This one for the company. It's crazy, isn't it? Now, even at A1 Blueprint, people just walk by and take their credit card and just boop, just hit it on that little scanner and walk right on out the door. Get it emailed to them. Somebody can pay an invoice. 90% of all of our invoices are paid online before the customer ever shows up. And I have the email set up on my phone, so I'd be like, ding, here's something like, somebody just paid a $239 invoice, John did, and blah, blah, blah. Everything's technology now. So back when it was all getting started about the monetary system was going to be changing greatly. Do y'all, some of y'all, even some of the folks in their 40s might remember this. You remember you used to go to Kroger or a grocery store or somewhere, and you'd have people sitting there and putting $2.79, ding, $1.89, ding. They had to enter every little ding, and then these scanners come in. Boy, that was horrible too, because they swipe. The technology takes a while to get the kinks out. And so anyhow, I was deeply in the evangelical gloom and doom. World's coming to an end. Jesus is coming any day. Theology, doctrine, which is out there now, but it's kind of kooky and people's getting away from it. Yeah, before UPC codes. Now they just got. But anyhow, I was deeply around. All my family was alive back then, and man, they just like the mark of the beast, the mark of the beast. All these preachers started preaching in churches. When they take away your money, the Revelation said this, there's going to come a time where that you're not going to neither buy nor sell unless you have the mark of the beast. They're like, these numbers they given you, these credit cards with these numbers, everything's you're going to have a credit card and the numbers to pay. Oh God, that was just the mark of the beast. That was a sign that the end of the time was coming. Everything to them back then was a sign of the end of the times. I don't know if there'll ever be an end of the times. If there ever is an end of the times, there's a couple of scenarios that could happen. It ain't going to be nothing to do with God coming back. I don't believe. It's going to either be some kind of meteor hits Earth and knocks it just out of kaput. It could be global warming, that somehow the Earth just so overheated that it just died. This planet will die one day, according to all the scientists. All planets do. It might be millions of years, but all planets eventually die. There's millions of them out in the universe now that at one time were more alive, and they're just dead rocks soaring through space. Yeah, I said global warming, a meteor, and there could be such a nuclear war that went on Earth. It basically destroyed everything. Um, so, so anyhow, it's just odd now that I'm sitting out here in my garden house talking to people up in North Carolina, down in Florida, out in Texas, right around the corner up here somewhere, and and this technology that we have now where we can pay our bills online, I don't know why is there a US mail service anymore? I mean, do people really still get a gas bill in their mail? And if they do, why? You can just look online, you can pay it online. Why do you need a paper copy of anything anymore? Uh, the technology, why? I mean, that old saying, the check's in the mail. I don't have anybody ever. I own a business. Nobody ever sends a check in the mail anymore. This is the year 2025, y'all. We are living in the future. We have made it to the Jetson age. There's cars that I pass coming home in traffic coming through downtown Atlanta, cars with people sitting in the back of them, and there's no driver. It's kind of like do 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 do. You're like, what in the world? Driverless vehicles are on the roads in Atlanta. Uh, it's we're living in that future, you know. And so for you can wait on your light bill from Georgia Power, Southern Company to send you a light bill. My God, most all my bills are set up on automatic payment, where I just get an email like dings, like City of East Point. Over here, I love our utility system. We have our light bill, our water bill, and our garbage collection all on one invoice. And City of East Point has my credit card on file, and every month I'll get an email says your bill's $279. It'll be withdrawn on the 15th, whatever. On the 15th, I'll get another email that says, ding, your payment was successful. I don't even see a bill. I don't even go to a mailbox, you know. I saw my first driverless car last year in Arizona. I don't know how I would feel about getting in the car. Boy, if I tell you what, you could really these TV shows that like to play jokes on people. Boy, they could rig one of them up to really scare the dickens out of somebody, couldn't they? Here's a whoa, 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 no, 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 and make that car look like it's going to run into a tree or something. Cause somebody to have a heart attack. It is bizarre, y'all. We are living in the future, even though it's now. And so anyhow, more and more people are not accepting cash. Uh, yeah, it's just weird. So I still love customers pay cash because we put it in my pocket. You know, we get very little cash. Sometimes somebody will come through there and pay with cash, be $80 or something. I just take and do what a crooked employee would do, delete out of the system so we don't have to pay sales tax on it. Just put that $80 in my pocket. So anyway, y'all, good evening. Enough of that silliness. Eddie William Sellers coming to y'all this evening, sitting out here with my little fan blowing, with the little Himalayan peace music playing out here. Ava's inside. I'm sure she's back now from Taco Bell, eating her couple of tacos. Our friend Brian is just sweet. He's in the series on Netflix. I think it's maybe 8 part. We've watched 3 of them, I think. Called Oceanfront, and they say it's good. It's kind of like an Ozark thing, you know, running drugs out of a little seaside town or whatever. But he's got a recurring role in it, and I'm so happy for him. You know, they filmed it in Wilmington, I believe, North Carolina. So he was flying back and forth to Wilmington, and I've seen him back several years on a little play he did. I like to prophesy over people something good, and I went to see him some years ago in a little bitty black top black black box theater on Edgewood. And he was on a little play, and his mom and dad was there that night. The first time I met them, when his dad died later, they had his funeral in Lower Peachtree, Alabama. Man, you talking about back in the boondocks. Cell phones don't work. Way back off the road. But anyhow, Ava and I drove down that Saturday for his dad's funeral. But when I saw him that night, his mom and dad was there. I told his mom and his dad, I said, because you could tell they were so proud of him, just so proud of him. I told him, I said, your son's he's gonna make it okay. He's gonna do all right. And so a couple of times I was laying in bed one night, and then I seen him on a commercial on TV. I'm like, Ava, here's Brian. Just so happy, I just rejoice in the success. Waterfront. Thank you, Shannon. I'm on episode 3. I think we're on episode 3. But Brian he works for the family, and he's a big black guy. We call him a teddy bear. He's just our teddy bear. He's so sweet. And when you see him holding somebody by the ankles and dipping their heads down in the ocean, going to drown them, I have to really stretch my thinking to imagine Brian doing that. Although he's playing, he's not a bad guy, but it's a tough show. But anyway, yeah. I don't know his name yet on that, but he works for the family, not the cartel, but he works for the family, and he's one of the 2 guys. He's a big black guy. He's one of the 2 guys that the wife hired, like ex-convicts, because they got it started before the dad got involved. I don't want to give I know no more of it away, but Waterfront over on Netflix. I don't know if it's Tim or Reggie. I think I've just watched the 2nd episode, and Kathy's watched the whole series. She binge watched it. It's called Waterfront on Netflix. Yeah. So, but what I was saying, I love celebrating people. I just love rejoicing in the joys of other people's success, And back when I had a church, I loved letting young, nervous preachers get a chance to get up and preach. Just sit there, just rejoice in the fact that they was getting a few moments in a spotlight and getting to do stuff. And yeah, it's a combination of Bloodlines and Ozark. Yeah. And then the last episode I seen, the mom was, good Lord. Anyhow, So, good evening, everybody. Eddie William Sellers coming to you, sitting out here in my garden this evening after the storms have moved through Atlanta. Boom Boom and Gracie's walking around looking in the window. Just taking a moment to wind this day down. Maybe have a word of prayer. Maybe have a moment of quiet. Maybe pray for something. Maybe meditate about something. Maybe the Spirit will join us, And we welcome the goodness of anything that's flowing around us this evening. We ask that whatever we have in us that's good, that we send it out to somebody that might be watching this right now, that just needs somebody to just kind of tell them it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Man, life can be stressful, y'all. I don't want to go into details, but man, life can be stressful sometimes. Can just really be stressful. And but whatever we're feeling this evening, whatever's within me, I just I hope I find myself in Atlanta some Monday when you're at the shop. Yeah. I love people stopping by the shop. I'm always over on Mondays. I'm not going to be over there this Monday. My grandson Caleb's working that day. Ava and I was heading to Jekyll Island Sunday morning. And we're going to be down there for 4 days and just kind of getting away. It'll be my first time this year, which is rare for me because usually we go to Panama City in February and March. And yeah, I don't know, life's just been kind of different this year. Every year's different, isn't it? So it'll be my first time of going to any type beach this year, and it's going to be July, right around the 1st of July. And you know, um, yeah, life is stressful. I try to sunshine wherever I go. I do life enrichment in long-term care. Good heavens, what a blessing! Uh, yeah, yeah. So yeah, life can be very stressful. People dealing with health issues. I mean, like the I can understand why the young guy won the Democratic nominee for New York City, although he's what 33, really has very no excuse, no not excuse, but no uh, training to he's not a politician. He's been a city council person or something for a couple of years. 33, he's taken over like one of the biggest jobs in America, mayor of New York City. Well, if he wins when they do all run again. But no wonder he won when he ran on a platform. He's like, my God, y'all, it's horrible to try to live in New York City and just keep a roof over your head. It's stressful. And so life can be stressful with finances, with bills, and your car breakdown, insurance cancels you. Just all kinds of things can just be stressful. Um, so. Yeah, yeah. I uh, yes, it's the polar opposite of what MAGA's doing, which I did a video earlier today on TikTok where the AP was saying that the parliamentarian of the Senate was saying that the Senate, it might not be legal for them to wrap up the big, huge cuts in Medicaid the way they did it. And in order to provide trillions of dollars worth of tax cuts to the wealthy. And so when MAGA would wonder, like, well, why would people in America vote and elect a Democratic a socialist? Because you answered that question by you wanting to take poor people across this country and cut out the little bit of help that they do get through Medicaid. My goodness. So he did. Hey, Richard, he did. I hope he keeps it because I'm telling you, they're already coming after him. Just he's the devil and this and that and the other. Yeah, he. I hope he's got staying skin, tough skin, because whatever he's done in his life, they're going to drag him through the pits of hell. He does seem like he's a decent guy, doesn't he? And I like the fact that he's a Muslim. I think we need more diversity among us in leadership. Uh, I think not only do we need Jewish people in leadership, we need Arabs and Muslims and and Iranian Americans and Palestinians in leadership too. America needs to be a hodgepodge of all of us trying to make our country better. And I know this is offensive to some people that might hear me say this right now, but I thought about this today. I watched a little bit of Pete Hegseth, whatever his name is, the Secretary of Defense, ranting and raving about crooked media and all that. And I thought to myself, this is the first time in my lifetime, and I believe the first time in the history of our entire country, that we have an administration where there's not one single credible person in any position. I don't care what position you go from ambassadors down to DOJ to Marco Root. There's not one single credible person. And I know that during Trump's first administration, um, he had like, General Mad Dog Maddox and generals, and had other people he had appointed around him that were credible. They were credible, you know. They kowtowed a little bit to Trump, but you didn't take them that they would look right in the camera and just purposely lie in order to be with Donald Trump. So they were credible, a lot of them, and they was in difficult positions, but they were credible. Dr. Fauci, very credible. You could go through a list of a lot of them. This is the first time in the history of our country. I don't think there's not one single person in the whole entire administration that's credible. And I think about 20 of them is Fox News people that work for Fox News as television people. Good Lord. Just because you know how to look into a camera and read off of a teleprompter don't mean you got any good sense. So it's very disturbing on that end. Very disturbing. Um, I do hope the young man in New York City, I hope he gets elected as mayor. And I think his winning of the nomination speaks volumes that people are just sick and tired of the old politics of Andrew Cuomo and Joe Biden. And I know we love Joe Biden, but Joe Biden should have been out of office 20 years ago. My God, how does man hang around till he's 80 years old? And got elected when he was 32 or something. Good Lord. So anyway, we sat here this evening. Y'all can see it getting dark. I've got the light on in here. So it's already kind of getting dark outside. I'm going to head inside and maybe watch episode 3. Yeah, don't ever remember waking up with knots in my stomach because of Trump. Yeah. Yeah, we live in, if I wanted to use a biblical word, there's a word, peerless, where one of the Jewish writers wrote that in the last days, peerless times will come. And I don't think we're living in the last days, let's say, unleashing nuclear bombs. But it does seem like we're living in peerless times, doesn't it? And I think the issue is there's plenty of wealth in our country. And it's so distributed unfairly. How can somebody in our country live off of an SSI check that's $600 a month, and somebody else over here have $500 billion? To me, I don't know if these numbers are right, but if you hear Bernie Sanders and supposedly other people that know, people on the MAGA side don't dispute it, but the numbers say that like 5% of Americans actually have control and own 90% of all the wealth of America. There's something unseemly about that. Hey, Stephanie, good evening to you over on TikTok. There's something unseemly about it. And take it to this level right here. The people that are the 5% that supposedly control and own 90% of the wealth in this country, this big, beautiful bill gives them greater tax breaks. And the way they give them the greater tax breaks is to cut hundreds of millions and billions of dollars out of Medicaid for poor people. just barely figuring out a way to get to a doctor. And then people wonder, like, well, why would you vote for a Democratic Socialist? My question to that, if you take that into context, why would we not? Why would we not do that? Because the system of Trump and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all these people, there's an unfairness to that. There's just an unfairness to it, yeah. So anyway, let me get out of here. Good evening, everybody. If you're feeling down tonight, I hope you pick yourself up a little bit. This might be for somebody. Sometimes you just have to pick yourself up. The rescue's not coming. You just have to get up and say, blah, and just get up and pick yourself up. Do what you got to do. Keep on keeping on. There was a place in the Bible where David, he made a statement. He said, I encouraged my own self in the Lord. And sometimes you just have to encourage your own self. Speak good stuff to you. Quit beating yourself up. Pick yourself up. So what? Who hadn't screwed up? Who hadn't said stuff? Who hadn't done stuff they kind of regretted? You just kind of have forgiveness for yourself and make it right with you. Get up and go on. Dust off the dust from your feet and get up and, tomorrow's another day. So anyhow, love y'all. See y'all. Getting out of here. Coming to you from beautiful Atlanta, Georgia this evening. Yeah.